But the arming of the people did allow then the overthrow of some of the corrupt regimes that led into the Renaissance more than even the Black Plague did. And then out of that, you had upward mobility. Now, somebody who wasn't born into nobility, they could become a knight. You know, they could become, and then that created, that's why the old fable of King Arthur that has its roots in reality, it was the commoner pulling the sword out of the stone, but of course he wasn't really a commoner. So this is a big deal. This is about getting out of a caste system, and we first see the caste system being overthrown to a certain extent with the free people becoming armed. Going back to our guest, Daniel Mcnicoll, and the new film, Reclaiming the Blade, available here for the first time today at their website, reclaimingtheblade.com. Okay, continue. You got cut off.
Technical difficulties there. But, at the heart of these stories is a message that I think, and hey, that's why they sell tickets for these type of movies, because it's something that resonates with people. And that's the bottom line. If it didn't resonate and it didn't sell tickets, they wouldn't make those.
It's an archetypal, ancestral memory, whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
I mean, it's simple. Humans defending themselves from saber-toothed tigers with a club. I mean, you're supposed to have weapons. It's that simple. And the weapons aren't bad. It's the people that wield them sometimes in a bad way. Other points about the film and then the extra disc that comes along with it.
Sure. There's a lot of extra interviews with Viggo Mortensen and Carl Urban, who's in the new Star Trek movie, who was also in Lord of the Rings and has done a lot of sword wielding on a number of films. And then also Ken Sparling from Skywalker Sound did the 5.1 surround mix. So if you're at all interested in just some good. We tried to make the documentary less informative and informative but entertaining at the same time, and I hope we did that because I wanted to add some epicness to it. And Lakeshore Records put out our soundtrack, and there's a lot of great artists, The Doves, Juliana Hatfield, Swerve Driver.
You've also got Gimli in it, the dwarf from Lord of the Rings, who's also one of the stars, and stuff like Raiders from the Lost Ark. I love that actor. Tell us about him.
Yeah, John Rhys Davies is a great guy. I mean, he's a wonderful actor. He's very talented. He narrated the film, and
you were talking about him earlier. He's the guy that is a patriot for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, no questions asked. I mean, John is he's a lover of history. He understands history. He understands where we're at today. And as I said, I think we should definitely get him on the show to talk. So he's a great guy. Actually, I wrote the narration for him, but he's so intelligent and bright that he actually added his own, personality to it. I'm not the greatest writer in the world, so he was able to work with me on that, and we were able to really get a great message in there. And no, I knew from the start when I started developing the film that he'd be a great voice for it. And,
tell us about this sword master that did all the Star Wars stuff and the rest of it, because I think I've seen him in the documentaries about Lord of the Rings. That's the guy that trained Viggo, right?
Sure. Yeah, Bob Anderson. He's trained Errol Flynn. He's 80 plus years old. So I feel fortunate that we were able to sit down with him and have this interview. He's very spry for 80, and he's an amazing person. He trained, Johnny Depp, Viggo Mortensen. He's a very well-known.
He looks like he's about 68 years old, and you're saying he's 80.
Yeah, he looks good, and that's part of what I would like to see is exercise with the sword, because it's something that attaches you. It's not just running you're not just running on a treadmill. You're exercising with a sword. There's some thought behind it. There's some passion and spirit behind it. So it's a lot of fun. I hope, and I like to think, and I romanticize about things sometimes a bit too much. But I'd like to think the sword has kept him alive for a while. But he's a really, really passionate person in the film, and we have he's a big part of it. And then also another part of the film is the academics. I mean, we went to Oxford and we talked to a lot of really good martial arts experts. And we talk a lot about, historical European martial arts and how the gun basically kind of changed, warfare and how the sword evolved more into a sport. and also into a symbol as opposed to just being a weapon. But getting back to the English history of it, when you look at the English longbow, which is a really amazing tool and a weapon, the accuracy they had with the English longbow, which every, as I say, able-bodied male was to train with the longbow. The accuracy was so good they could hit a target further away than you could with a gun. I mean, they could really hit a target well. I mean, obviously with scopes and everything.
Oh, the compound bow, and I'm no big mastermind with a bow, but I've done some deer hunting with them. I can shoot like a sapling at 150 yards, that big around. I'll say, I'm going to shoot that black, knot on that tree with a target arrow and actually hit it. I mean, that's the thing, is they try to destroy the Second Amendment. We need to try to keep it, but also get good with bows, get good with swords. And plus, it's a lot of fun, and fencing is exhausting, is it not?
Well, I have to confess, I'm a filmmaker first and a martial artist on the side. I love doing the martial arts too, but I'm not that great at it. I leave that. But let me tell you about another project that could be really cool that we're working on. I don't know if you've seen Batman or Batman Begins or Dark Knight, but a lot of the fight choreography in that movie, I've been talking to some of the developers of that fight choreography, and I'd like to do another Reclaiming the Blade type movie with Husto and another guy. He worked with Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale. He trained Heath Ledger actually for the Dark Knight, and Liam Neeson as well. But there's some really cool martial arts of just hand-to-hand combat. And a lot of your listeners may not know this, but they've actually seen the fighting style called Casey's Fighting Method, KFM, which was used in The Dark Knight and also used in the other film, Batman Begins. But it's just another interesting project.
Well, let's talk more about the film that just now is coming out when we come back. And Rob Dew, my producer, has got some comments. I've been running on here. We really appreciate our guest, Daniel Mcnicoll, joining us. I'm Alex Jones. We're going to try to hold Daniel Mcnicoll 5 minutes in the next hour. Burma has huge breaking news on the swine flu, genetically engineered bioweapon story. This is huge, and it's mainstream, hidden in plain view. And I'd forgotten about this when he pointed it out to me. So we have all these big scientists saying it was clearly engineered. We told you so. Big new developments coming up after I take a gamut of calls, opening the phones up again for those that we're holding that we had to let go earlier, 1-800-259-9231. And a big news blitz of stuff I haven't covered coming up. But Rob Dew, I know you're a huge fan of this film as well. I mean, I hope this ends up being on TV. That's my next question. But any comments you've got about the new film out now, Reclaiming the Blade?
Well, there's a couple things I like about it. The intro is really amazing, and that'll really draw you in, and it gives you a historical overview plus a pop culture overview and how they kind of merge together. And then that it's what these guys are practicing is sort of a lost art, and people are trying to bring it back in because it is another form to defend yourself, and that's another great thing about it. You, with your sword, could go out and defend yourself, defend your family, defend your belongings, and that's how you proved your worth, is with the sword. And then it goes into, we've had this in Western cultures, we had this in Asian cultures, with their fighting style, and it seems like the common thing that ground them all together was that blade that they were able to use and defend themselves and defend against tyranny. And that's what I really liked about it.
Absolutely. And is this going to end up being on TV?
Absolutely, yeah. We actually have a wonderful sales agent, Lisa Romanoff. She's doing a very good job. We are going to be airing it on the History Channel, likely PBS and A&E, and there's some other contenders, which would be Discovery Channel, Learning Channel. So absolutely, we're going to definitely have some airtime for this on TV. No question about that. And then, but we're
even though it has a pro arms message. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I think the buyers are basically looking at dollars, and they're basically looking at filling slots, and they're looking for content. The job of any buyer, whether it's a retail buyer or a buyer who's finding content for TV, they're looking to fill slots, and they're looking for content that's gonna to be appealing to their audience. And so, yeah, I think for sure we should have some commercial TV. Actually, Mark Cuban wants to show it on HDNet. So I mean, but that's another place. We'll definitely do TV. TV is something. It comes down the line. Typically with filmmaking, you kind of do the theatrical thing, then you do home video, and then TV's kind of later down the line. And that's how we've approached it. However, I think for us, in our marketing, it might do us better to hit the TV a little earlier. So I would say this fall, look for it on one of these channels or a couple of these channels, and we'll definitely try to get it out there.
Tell us about some of the other things you've done, because this is a pretty big undertaking to get all these folks together and do such a great job. What other things have you worked on?
Well, if I could speak for a moment on filmmaking in general, I wanted to say this to your audience today. It was something that was kind of weighing on me before you called. I thought, that I just felt, that this was important, and that is filmmakers, independent filmmakers, that you